Hi, and welcome to the Coffee Chat Etc. podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Cox, and today I'm delighted to welcome another inspiring guest. At Coffee Chat Etc., we believe every woman is the author of her story, and it's time to become the CEO of her next chapter. Before we begin, I'd just like to say that today's conversation touches on some personal life experiences. If you've been affected by any of the topics we discuss, please take care while listening and reach out for support if you need it. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and if you're ready for your next chapter, we'd love you to join the Coffee Chat Etc. community. You'll find all the details in the show notes. So today I'm honoured to welcome Niky. After the heartbreaking loss of her son, Niky found the strength not only to navigate her own grief, but to help other women lead themselves through life's hurdles without losing themselves. In today's episode, Life After Grief, Rising Up, we'll talk about resilience, self-leadership, and finding hope when life changes forever. So, grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's start. Hi, and welcome, Niky, all the way from Queensland today. Good morning or good afternoon, Niky.
It's a good evening even for me, Tracy. So being on the other side of the world, thank you so much for inviting me today.
You're very welcome, Niky. And I know a little bit about your story just from what I've seen of you and on Facebook. And you seem very supportive towards other women, and you do courses and retreats and things. And I was just more interested about your story and how this all started for you.
Yeah. So my story and my journey into becoming a resilient leadership coach or a resilience coach for women really started, if I rewind all the way back to 2013 and into 2014. So my journey unfortunately started with quite a tragedy. You know, I was previously a happy physiotherapist and business owner who thought nothing could go wrong in my life. And I thought, if you have a bad day, just take your vitamin B and go for a run, you'll be fine. And my life took a really tragic turn with the passing away of my son in February.
Oh, no.
And
what year was that, Niky?
That was in 2014. Yeah. So
Wow.
February 2014. And I found myself, transformed from this happy, confident, ambitious woman to literally an empty shell of my former self. I struggled with an emotional roller coaster. I struggled with self-blame, with self-doubt. I could barely leave the house. I really felt like I was sitting at the bottom of the ocean, looking up to the surface and wondering if I'd ever find air to breathe again.
I'm not
And I
surprised.
actually lived in that space for a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was
That must have been a horrific, sorry, Niky, that must have been a
Yeah.
horrific time for you. As a mother of two children, I really deeply empathize with you on that.
Yeah. It's something that I actually, we never think these things will happen to us. We know adversities happen, right? We just
Absolutely.
never expect it to be us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so I found myself really looping in a really dark place for a long time. And it was many, many months down the track where I had a visit from a girlfriend to my house, and she came over and I was there in my pajamas with my hair all messy. And she looked at me and said, "Niky, I don't know how to help you." And I was like, "I don't know how to help me either. I've been trying to see counselors. I'd been trying to see psychologists. I'd been going to support groups, but I felt that I was in such a deep pit of grief that I really couldn't climb out."
Okay.
And she said to me, "Niky, I don't know how to help you, but I'd really love you to come on a yoga retreat that I'm about to run in Bali. I'll gift it to you.
Wow.
All you need to do is pay for your airfares." And,
Sure.
I've never been offered anything so generous before in my life. But you know what
Yeah.
I initially said was,
No?
no, I don't know. I just don't want to do that. I felt this
Okay.
apprehension, like, what if I can't hold it all together? What if I can't meet other women? What if I cry? What if, am I even allowed to go on a retreat? I'm a grieving mum. What will people think? Like, this is, all of these apprehensions. And I realized at that point that there were two real reasons that I was saying no. The first one was a sense that I'd spent my whole life giving to other people
Yeah.
and had no idea how to receive.
Wow. Yeah, that's a massive revelation.
Yeah, it just felt foreign. It was just a strange thing to think, what do you mean I'm gifted something? And so my initial apprehension, although I had the surface apprehensions of what will happen, the underneath was, well, I don't know how, I've never been given anything like this. I'm normally giving, right? I'm normally
Yeah,
serving.
yeah.
And then the
Gosh,
next
yeah.
revelation that I had at that point in time was, it was all the self-blame, like, if I'd just done one thing, and I think this often happens
Oh
through grief
no.
in any form, whether it's, grief comes in many faces and forms. Sometimes it's divorce, sometimes it's a
Yeah,
family breakdown, sometimes it's not always someone passing away, but we reach a point where we start to ask ourselves, what if I just changed one thing, And I was
yeah,
looping, if I'd turned left instead of right, if I'd seen a different doctor, if I'd listened to my intuition, if I just changed one thing, and
yeah,
what kind of mother am I?
yeah.
With that comes, I don't deserve it.
Oh
You know,
wow. You're not good
Mm.
enough.
I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And it was right at that time that I came across a quote by a man by the name of Dr. Demartini. I don't know if anybody knows him, but I'm subsequently trained under him. But that quote read, whatever you have or have not done, you're worthy of love.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a
And
lovely quote.
yeah, and when I read that quote, I happened to come across that quote in my Facebook feed miraculously that evening, and as I read it, I really realized that I needed to make a change.
A
You know,
pivotal
I needed
moment.
to I needed to do something different. I was tired of telling my story. I was tired of looping in emotional sea of sadness. I was tired of not leaving the house. I needed to step into something different. So I actually ended up calling that girlfriend back and saying, I know I said no and I feel, a bit crazy now, but can I say yes? And she said, of
Oh,
course.
fab.
So I went to that retreat, and it was the best first step that I'd ever taken. And the
Yeah.
beliefs that I had to bring about to get myself there. Now, was I apprehensive? Yes, I was totally apprehensive. I was on the plane thinking, I don't even know what I should be going. Um,
Yeah.
but but ultimately, and this is probably something to share with your viewers and your listeners, is the idea that if we have a thought process that we don't deserve it or we're not worthy, if we have a thought process that I don't have permission to receive, the only thing that happens is that creates a hurdle to forward momentum. So I discovered at that point that I
Ooh,
needed to change
interesting.
how I was thinking. And that was that I was worthy of love.
Yeah.
No matter what I'd done or hadn't done, however I'd
Yeah.
landed myself there, I needed to be able to step into understanding that I was worthy and
Yeah.
that I have permission to receive. And so that retreat then
Fantastic.
took me on a journey. Once I was on that retreat, I actually sat down and really contemplated what is it that I really need? Through grief, we can get stuck in the story so long. And I needed to
Sorry,
figure
Niky,
out.
can I just quickly ask the timeline of this? So you were obviously with the passing of your son, how long did this take for you to get to this point where you were able to take up an offer of leaving? Sorry.
That's all right. I would say it was it's a very funny thing, and most people who navigate grief will agree with this or know, is that the timeline feels very warped. Like when you're grieving, it's like a day will go past and it feels like a month, and
Yeah.
then the next
Wow.
minute, a month go past and it feels like a minute. Like I felt very distorted in time at that point. But
Of
I
course.
don't know specifically, but it would have been probably about 10 months, I imagine,
Wow. Yeah.
at that point. And so I had not yet reached the 1 year anniversary. But
Oof.
I realized on that retreat, honestly, that I needed to make some changes and learn more about how to calm emotions,
Yeah.
how to navigate stress, how to regulate the nervous system again, how to find direction. Like, I think ultimately, when we go through any kind of grieving process, it's almost like we're looking at a tipped out jigsaw puzzle that's our life and thinking, I don't even know how to put this back together.
Yeah.
And I spent a long time trying to figure out how to bounce back. And and this is another thing for listeners that they may want to even write down, is this idea that ultimately resilience is not bouncing back.
No.
Like, you don't bounce back. resilience is the heart's courageous choice to rise up and transform. And
Right.
so that's formed the basis of everything that I teach now.
That's very
So
powerful.
yeah, it's and I think that's with grief, we spend so much time looking backwards at what we've lost.
Yeah.
Uh, and I know it's too easy to say, look on the bright side. It's not that easy. Like, I don't mean that. But it's about figuring out how can I transform now that this has happened, because the
Yeah.
old picture is no longer existing, and
I
come
think
into that acceptance.
I think
Mm,
with grief as well, we are led as cultures to believe that when something bad happens, that we have to go through this stage of grieving. And obviously, there are 8 stages of grieving, and people take it in different ways. But I think, yeah, to come out of that is really difficult. And I think maybe sometimes it's based on your own learning, your own wisdom, and how you then can turn around and look at it. And it's
yeah.
a really difficult stage. And I know that a lot of the viewers would have personally gone through a lot of grief. But
Mm,
I love the idea that the resilience, it comes from within the heart, because
mm,
that's something that it takes courage and takes bravery to step out
mm.
of.
It does. It does take courage and bravery. And courage comes from a Latin word, cor, which is the heart. So it's
Oh,
like, yeah, it's a little piece of
I
triple
didn't know that.
cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically being vulnerable enough to step forward, even though you're not sure of your pathway, even though you're not who you were. And
Yeah.
this is, I think, part of the problem through grief is that you don't just lose someone, you lose yourself. And forming a new identity for yourself through that is that's the hard steps. That's what takes courage. And I
Definitely.
think we've either got we've got a choice to stay where we are, and this is what I realized. I either stay where I am treading water,
Yeah.
and or I decide to start leading myself through this, not to push it down or ignore it, because that doesn't work. Um,
No,
but to figure out how is it that I want to start taking steps forward in my life.
sure.
Uh, and so that led me down a pathway of learning. So basically, I've done pretty much every course under the sun known to man.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong learner. Um,
Yeah.
but I've done, heart math. I've done Brené Brown. I've done DeMartini. I've done NLP master coaching. But it was all a search. It was a search for myself to find what are the tools that I need to calm myself so I'm not depleted, because grief is exhausting. And then
Yes.
how is it that I need to find direction or form a new picture for myself?
Yeah.
And all of this came through all of the courses and learnings that I took over the time. I just took the best pieces of what I'd learned. I put it in a
Sure.
step-by-step pathway for me. And now that's what I teach now, is to be able to help women build resilience through life's adversities, when things fall apart.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
you've turned your pain into purpose for others, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I actually didn't. It's not like I set out to do that. It's
No,
um, you didn't. I didn't start doing that. I initially did all of these additional courses and training because I was trying to figure myself out. I was trying to figure out, why am I so foggy in
sure.
my brain? Why am I so exhausted? Why do I keep looping with the same thoughts? Why can't I calm my emotions? I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. Why, so the why search for me was the thing
Yeah.
that led me to learning. And, I've discovered a natural teacher. I'm a physiotherapist by training, and I've got I did have a physiotherapy business. Um, but
Yeah.
one of the things I love is teaching, and I just found myself naturally teaching some of the things that I'd learnt, and women were always very receptive. And I thought, oh, maybe there's something here that we need.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Mm.
think I'm a great believer as well that everything that you've gone through and learned up until this point is tools in your toolbox to help others as well. And I think the
Yeah,
learning definitely is for you, but it's also knowledge that you can pass on to others as well. And that's what's the word? Priceless for others as well,
yeah, absolutely it
which is
is. And
amazing. So
yeah.
you went from one retreat that you were asked to go to, and now you're doing your own retreats. What do
Yeah.
those look like, Niky?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So,
No problem.
what do my retreats look like? My retreats look like, I'm just trying to think, where do I start? My retreats are accumulation of all of the learning that I've had over the last 12 years in resilience, diversity, managing when life's tipped upside down. So every woman that comes on my retreat's normally been navigating something. We
Yeah.
don't sit in a circle and share our stories because I believe storytelling is in the realm of counselling, and I will say that I didn't do so well with counselling. Not to say that that doesn't work for
Okay.
some women. I found it useful to a degree.
Yeah.
And then after a period of time, I was like, well, what now? I keep telling my
Okay.
story, but what now?
Sure.
Um, so usually the women that come to my retreat are not in the early stages of grief where they need counselling or one-on-one support. They're normally at the stage where they're like, well, I've talked this through and what's next? What
Yeah.
do I do now? And so we don't sit in a circle and share our stories. But what does happen is that I give women like group coaching in a framework in seminar content each morning and each afternoon. We have a lovely, beautiful meditation and a lovely breakfast overlooking the nature view. But each day I've
Beautiful.
got seminar or workshop content, and it really addresses the key things that I see women having trouble with when we're navigating transformation or when we're navigating change or transition periods in our life. It's like, how do I calm emotions? How do I manage stress? How do I make sure I'm not operating from depletion? So I
Yeah.
go through the key steps on that. And then I also go through like, how do I find direction when life's turned messy? And the
Yeah.
messiness could be grief, or the messiness could be my kids have left home and now I don't know what I'm doing. And the messiness could be I've been made redundant at work and now I've got a big gap in my life.
Yeah.
So I go through really clear ways of figuring out what direction we need to take, and that's all very individual. So it's coaching questions,
Yeah.
and then I explore topics that I always get asked about, which is then now how to set boundaries, how to have courageous conversations, because it's
Yeah.
all very
Yeah.
good to say I'm not going to operate from depletion and I'm going to have a clear direction, but when you can't voice that or set boundaries around that, then we find ourselves lost again.
Yeah.
So my retreats are a combination of those workshops, but we also have massages, we have chefs that come
Oh,
in, we have
amazing.
lovely cabins. So it's like a
Yeah.
pampering escape.
Yeah, which again is about giving back to yourself as well and not
Very
feeling
much so.
guilty about that. Because I've found self-love probably over the last couple of years actually, and it's just an amazing thing to have, to acknowledge that actually I do deserve that. I am deserving of
Yeah.
having a massage or eating healthy foods or being in a place where there's nature and
Yeah.
relaxing. So yeah,
Yes.
it sounds wonderful and something that I could have done with a few years ago, to be honest with you.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you should fly over to Australia and come to one. I'd love to have you there.
Well, you know something, if you're offering, I'll be there.
Yeah, but
No,
you're
that's
right.
really good, Niky.
It is that sense of giving yourself permission to receive.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
conditioning. And ultimately, um, one of the steps that needs to happen with that is the idea, and this is going to sound a bit graty for some of your listeners, is the idea that we actually need to be able to and give ourselves permission to step into being selfish. Now,
Oh,
selfish sounds like,
interesting.
okay, I'm going to step on everybody else and I'm just going to
Yeah,
look after only me. It's not that. It's just including yourself on your plate.
yeah,
Just including yourself. It's like you're allowed to nurture yourself so you don't operate from depletion. You don't have to prove yourself through exhaustion. You don't have
yeah,
to and these are the often what happens on retreats is women come to realize actually I can selfishly choose once a month to get a massage and no, I'm not answering that email. I'm
yeah,
okay to do that.
yeah. And
I
to
can,
say no.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
to
I
say,
can
yeah,
selfishly choose what brings me fulfillment. And
yeah,
whether it's belly dancing or whether it's mountain climbing or whatever it is, I can selfishly include that because that is what brings us new direction through life's adversities. But we have to give
definitely.
ourselves permission.
I think so, especially women over 40, which is what I set the company up kind of to include, because I realised that after 40, I was exhausted. You know, I was working full time,
Mhm.
looking after my children, doing the washing, the shopping. I had no time for myself. And it's only when the kids left and when I was like, God, what do I do with myself now? You know, I've been giving, and I struggled with that. And you know, you mentioned it at the beginning. You get into this state of depletion, and I know that when I moved, I was so depleted. physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as well. I was
Mm,
going to ask you actually, how much do you touch on the spiritual connection and connecting
mm.
to your authentic self?
Yes. I love that question. Do you know, on retreat, I only touch on the surface because what I've found is a lot of people have their own religious beliefs, and I
Yes,
like to allow that to be theirs. I have my own very deep spiritual beliefs.
yes,
And so I will probably be writing some of those in another book at some other point. But um,
interesting.
I think ultimately our souls crave self-actualization, and that is a deep connection to something greater than ourselves.
Yeah,
And I have experienced so many amazing, um, how can I say this? Amazing signs from Baxter. That's the name of my son's Baxter, over
yeah.
the years.
Oh,
And I'm not talking about, okay, I saw a butterfly, that means it's not that. Like really
sure,
incredible situations, not to dismiss those signs as well, but
sure.
that makes me really understand that ultimately the universe and our connection to something greater is very tangible. It's just that we don't look at it, or we
Yeah,
refuse to.
yeah.
And when we refuse to, sometimes life will knock on the door and say, hey, your intuition's already told you this, and now I'm going to make you listen to this.
Absolutely. A big poke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
I I think our beliefs are quite aligned just from speaking to you, Niky. And I'm a great believer in that as well. And reading the signs and kind of being more aware of something bigger than ourselves, which
Yeah.
is great. So
Well, if
yeah,
I can
no, that's
share a
really
little,
interesting.
if I can share a little story that just happened just on the weekend. In Australia, it was Mother's Day on the weekend.
Yeah,
Just gone. And I always have a little dip around Mother's Day. And the dips, when you're grieving, some of the dips happen, and I will always call it because of comparison. We compare to what we think should be. We
yeah,
compare to other people. And I step out of comparison. I don't like I will often train myself not to compare, but to be grateful for where I am. But
sure.
Mother's Day, it's a bit harder. And
Yes, I can
so
imagine.
I I stepped out of comparison, and I thought, "Oh, look, I just have to acknowledge I feel sad." Like I feel sad today, and so I'm going to do a
Yeah,
couple of things to make myself feel better. And one of them was climb a mountain with my husband. So we did just a mountain walk, not like
yeah.
rope climbing, just a
I was going
mountain
to say
walk.
hiking with the
Yeah, just
boots and
hiking,
the
just
bags.
hiking. Yeah, no, just a nice walk. So we
Yeah,
did a mountain walk, which was beautiful. We took ourselves out for breakfast. And
lovely.
as the table wasn't ready, so we had a little walk just for 5 meters up the road to wait for the table. And we stopped, and Glenn looks down, and there was a gold bee on the ground
Oh,
at his feet.
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like a letter B for Baxter.
Oh,
That was,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you meant
And
a
then he
buzzy
pulled
bee.
off someone's
Oh,
piece of
wow.
jewelry, or I don't know
Yeah,
whose it was, but it
yeah.
was like a piece of jewelry or off the handbag or something, but it was a gold bee
Oh,
just
amazing.
sitting on the ground. And I just thought, thank you. Like Mother's
Yeah,
Day gifts, a
yeah.
little, just a little, I don't know, sign of,
Message.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that anyway. So I thought I'd share that
No, I
ultimately
think that's beautiful.
things are never truly lost. And this is what I've learnt over time, is that love doesn't end, it transforms. So if you have, nothing ends, everything transforms because we're all energy. So if you
Yeah,
imagine a pot of water sitting on a stove, when it boils, if the water turns to steam, it's not disappeared, it's just changed form. And
yeah,
so when we have that real understanding that there's nothing ever lost, it's transformed, and you learn where and how to look for it, which is part of
sure.
DeMartini's training,
Yeah,
uh, then you have this real heart opening experience to know that we're all connected in a much grander way.
absolutely. No, and I agree. And I always live by everything is temporary.
Mm,
Nothing is ever permanent. And we just shift
yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Exactly.
And I'm
Mm,
so pleased that you had that sign at the weekend as well.
yeah. Well,
It's
there's been
great.
lots of them, but it was a really nice one on Mother's Day because I was
Yeah,
having a
absolutely.
little emotional dip.
Yeah,
And it instantly was like, oh,
yeah,
thank you.
lovely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's great. And it's
Mm,
amazing that you're doing all of this work for others as
mm,
well,
mm.
Niky. And I know that we've talked just before we came on here that you've got a new book coming out in a couple of weeks. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if you might share that with our listeners.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So my book is called Selfish Leadership: How to Lead
Yeah.
Without Losing Yourself, the Rise Up Guide. So
Okay.
the method of teaching that my program is called Rise Up. But I learnt, I through over the last 12 years, I've navigated grief and also I was running a business at the time. So I was running a team of women whilst trying to navigate my own background challenges. And I know there are plenty of women out there who are running businesses, leading teams, running families at the same time as navigating a relationship
Yeah.
breakdown in the background, this happening with their family. And
Yeah.
I was that woman, and I realized I learned a lot of lessons in that, in leadership, not just leading others, but how to lead myself.
Yeah.
So this book is really designed to give women a map of like, how do I lead myself through life's adversities? And when I say life's adversities, it can be like I've experienced a big sudden thing, or
Yeah.
it can be what I call the slow slide into depletion. And I've been there
Okay.
because the
Yes.
slow slide is saying, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do this. And yes, I'll hold it all together. And soon you feel like you're holding it together by a thread, only to realize, and I had this experience myself, is that something starts to cave. It might be your health, or it might be
Sure.
something that starts to say, a bit like that intuition, hey, you can't keep
Yeah.
going like this. So
Yeah.
this book is really for women who, whether it's a big experience or whether it's a slow slide, when you
Yeah.
realize I need to make a change, I'm just not sure how. I
Yeah.
need to start filling my tank again. I need to start being clear in my direction. I need to start communicating in a better way that's clear with boundaries but still kind.
Sure.
And how do I do that? And so this book is really designed as a map and a guide, a step-by-step guide of like, okay, when you
Fab.
find yourself in the ditch, here's what you do. And so
Yeah.
that's the idea behind the book. So I chose the the Grady title of selfish because I know for some of us it's like, oh, can I really? Do I
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
permission? Do I have permission? So
Yeah.
that was the idea behind it. So I can't wait for the release. I can't wait to share it. I'm scared as well as excited, like
Oh, I
Amy.
bet. It's very
You,
exciting.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I'll definitely buy one of those as well, because I think I've had times in my lifetime where I've gone through stuff and just had to keep going. And it's
Yeah.
really difficult. It is
Mhm.
difficult. I was just going to ask, because yeah. How do we allow ourselves to have that selfish time for grieving as well, Niky?
Mm,
Because I did experience my dog passed away and I didn't understand how emotional I was going to be. And I literally locked myself away for a week, a month,
mm,
whatever
mm,
time. So does your book and everything else, does that allow for that natural grieving
mm.
time?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I explore a little about emotional regulation, and part of it is
Okay.
understanding when we navigate sadness. So sadness is the experience of grief. There's a few things that we do. Sometimes we push it down and run away.
Yeah.
So Brené Brown talks about all of the habits that we have where we can't tolerate these painful feelings. It's like, well, I'll numb. I'll numb with
Yeah.
shopping or drinking or getting busy, or I'll be a bouncer, which means like, well, I don't care. It's fine. Forget it. I can just keep going on.
Right. Got you.
Or chandeliering, which is a bit like I describe it as pushing a beach ball, if you're standing in a pool, pushing it underwater and smiling on top and hoping it's all okay, only to know that that beach ball is going to slip out and whack someone in the face. And so these are all of the experiences that we can come to that can come about when we're navigating difficulty or a sad
Yeah.
experience. So I always think I don't really believe about the 5 stages of grief. I didn't experience that myself, but what I do believe is that there are 3 main phases, and the first
Sure.
phase is that sense of like, I'm completely overwhelmed, I feel like I'm drowning, and the thing that you need to do there is just feel it.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
problem is it's painful. Like it's not pleasant.
Very.
It's horrible.
No.
But to know that, okay, a bit like I call it like whitewater rafting, eventually you find calmer water. It's just that
Yeah.
you can't fear anything in that point in time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we go through that initial experience of intense pain, and then we come out the other side, and call it the second phase of grief, where it's like, okay, now I'm trying to rebuild. Now I'm trying to
Sure.
rebuild. But part of understanding these sad emotions, and the thing that really helped me in the long run, is the true understanding that nothing's ever missing. And that's
Yeah.
such a hard concept. And it's not something that I could have taken on board in my first year, really. Because
Absolutely.
if someone said to me, everything happens for a reason and nothing's
Oh,
really missing, I probably would have whacked them.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Of course, I would have.
yeah, so it's understanding that some of this has a certain timeliness to it.
Yeah.
Um, so I touch on not the first phase of grief in the book so much, but I do touch on, like, what do we do when we have these emotions? What should we do? That's a healthier way of being able to process and allow it to be
Yeah.
without getting stuck there, because that's the
Yeah.
next problem. We then get stuck. So,
Yes. Yeah.
mm,
No, that's great. And it's better it's good to get a better understanding of it as well, Niky. So if there's
mm,
anybody out there in the audience listening at the moment that's really feeling quite stuck, what kind of 2 or 3 steps would you say for them to get moving and to start coming out of that? To be selfish,
yeah.
maybe?
Yeah. So there's two key steps, I think. The first step is, if you can imagine going down to your car about to drive to work, and you put the key in the engine and you go to turn the engine and there's no fuel in the tank.
Yeah.
So you'll get stuck if you've let yourself, or if depletion has overcome you. And we can
Sure.
get depleted physically, which is like no sleep, our nutrition's not great, but we can also be depleted emotionally, which means I've started to isolate myself. I can't find joy anymore. I'm battling emotions that I don't know how to do it, or mentally depleted, which means I've got too many tabs open in the brain. I'm not managing my stress. I'm overwhelmed. And so these three fuel tanks, if they're running low, we will feel stuck, and we won't, we can do anything we like on motivational strategies, but unless we put fuel
Yeah.
in. So that's the first step, is learning how
Sure.
to refuel. The
Refuel.
second step is to build clear direction. And sometimes that direction is not where you think it, how can I say this? Sometimes we need to make a change in our direction
Yeah.
and we stall. So if you can imagine, if I hop into my car, I turn the engine starts to run. I think, great. I pull out of the driveway, I drive north for a little while, and then someone calls me over to the east, and I drive over there for a bit, and then someone calls me over to the west, and I drive there, and I think, well, I thought I was heading north, but now I'm feeling self-doubt, like I don't know, maybe I should head south. And you get to the end of the day and pulling your driveway exhausted
Yeah.
and feeling stuck
Yes.
because you haven't actually been clear with your own fulfillment and your own direction.
Yeah.
So,
I love that
so
metaphor. Yeah.
yeah, so part of what you need to do is A, fuel in the tank, and B, clear direction. But the third key step, I think, which comes back to selfish, is actually learning to get out of the ditch and actually get in the driver's seat. So very often, if we've navigated adversity, it's very easy to, and I was there, so I know, it's very
Yeah.
easy to sink into self-blame. They should have, he should have, life should have been, life's not turning out as planned. I just have to look after everyone else, forget about it. I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
prioritize myself. I'm too busy. All of these things that leave us kind of cycling on the side of the road on a
Yeah.
treadmill
Yeah.
trying to pass without going, actually, I need to stop. I
Sure.
need to prioritize myself, which means I actually need to start with selfish. That's the first step.
Yes.
And the
Definitely.
selfish
Clear
first step is
boundaries.
getting into the car and going, right, now where's the fuel? So
Yeah.
that's really the background that needs to happen.
No, that's great. And thank you very much for sharing that as well, Niky.
That's
So yeah,
okay.
I'm really excited for your book coming out
Thank
and
you.
all the things that are happening for you. So that's
Yes.
amazing. And thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on the show and sharing all your golden nuggets and your
Ah,
expertise as well.
my pleasure. It's so nice talking to you, Tracy. I'm really happy and grateful that you invited me, because I love sharing any little tips that help women navigate their way through the messy moments of life.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Niky. And good luck with your book as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation and found something that resonates with you, inspires you, or simply reminds you that you're not alone. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love you to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need to hear this conversation. And if you'd like to become part of a growing community of women who are navigating life's transitions together, I'd love to welcome you to the Coffee Chat Etc. community. It's a place where we connect, learn, grow, and support one another as we write our next chapters. You can find all the details in the show notes or by visiting us at coffeechatetc.com. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember, no matter what chapter you're living right now, there is always more. See you soon.